roads and up in the clouds, but I've always felt that something's missing. That was until I found you right there in the crowd. You came into my life and started a fire. You made me feel like I could touch the sky. Oh, there's nothing missing now that you're my desire. Now all I have to do is to make you mine. 'Cause I know, and you know what we could be. Like a song, like a perfect melody. Baby, don't say you don't believe in me. 'Cause you know, and I know, we're onto something good. You know, and I know, we.
Hey y'all, how's it going? It's Bonnie Violet here. I'm a trans femme, genderqueer, spiritual drag artist, and digital chaplain. And as I say on a lot of my podcasts, if you don't know where you are, you found yourself at Say Something Sundays, where I go live each week on Sundays at 3:33 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I say something for about 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah, so that's what happens. If you're joining me live, feel free to make comments or ask questions. This particular episode, if you may or may not have noticed, I didn't have any promotion out this week. I didn't have usually I post what my topic is and ahead of time so that people can plan to come, or it's really more so, I think, for me, because oftentimes I'm speaking at no one, and that's okay, because folks can listen to it after or whatever. And as I've said before, I think part of this is a process for me, which I think kind of speaks to maybe a little bit of what I'm planning to talk about today, which is no plan at all. I've been super challenged with showing up this week, and trying not to read into it and trying to let myself kind of be in that space. I have really been trying to counteract some of that energy or mindset or whatever it is that's kind of holding me back, or held me back this week, I'll just say. It would be interesting how I would get up and I would start my day and I would get excited. I'd kind of wake up, and some days kind of slowly, but I would get up, and then I would once I got out of bed, I was like, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to make some coffee. I'm going to maybe make myself something to eat, maybe do some work. I've really been trying to get some sort of spiritual practice in, some sort of prayer or meditation. At a minimum, I will light a Palo Santo this week. Again, just trying to do everything I can to try to get out of this funk or this challenge for me to show up for life and to show up for I don't know, my mind is going a little bit everywhere on this episode. As I said, I really struggled with coming up with a topic this week, and I think partially because I've spent a good portion of the week by myself, limited interaction with other people, and when I did, it was, like I said, it was very limited. I had made plans and I wanted to do things. This kind of started last week, where I needed to kind of take some time away for potential COVID exposure. And I've been kind of just struggling with just showing up for anything. I have someone who is in a hospital. It's a friend of mine that I care about a lot. I've not been able to bring myself to go visit him. I'm not sure why. I have a family member who is going through some major health issues and concerns, and I've made a commitment to show up for her. And I've been showing up as best as I can. Up until a few days ago, I just kind of stopped. It just became difficult to pick up the phone, to do much, to be honest with you. One day this week, I just kind of stayed in bed. And as I started to say, some mornings I would get up and like get excited and like want to do my day. And then sometimes within a couple hours or within a few hours, I'm like just wanting to curl up or wanting to, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, honestly. I don't know what's going on. And my roommate came in to check on me at one point this week or last week and asked me if I was okay and how I was doing. And I was like, I'm okay. I just don't know what's going on. And so I think I might be a little overwhelmed with life. Nothing more than normal life stuff. But for whatever reason, I seem to be wanting to shut down. When it feels like in some ways I need to continue to, as I said, kind of show up and kind of push through some of these, this energy or this whatever. And I go back and forth of kind of just allowing myself and saying, okay, like just take the day off or don't do nothing or like do what you need to do. And so it's like a mixed bag, and all I need is more time to get into my head with all this sort of stuff. And I've been wanting to really kind of lean into more of like a spiritual practice, or it's like if I'm going to spend so much time by myself and unable to like just go, it's not that I don't have places to go. It's not necessarily that I don't have people to hang out with. I do have some resource challenges that kind of does make it a little bit difficult or unique, I guess, in how I'm going to show up. But which I think just plays into the idea of being potentially a burden on people. I think I get to a state where I feel like I am over reliant on others. And at the same time, I know I don't make much room, or I haven't made much room in the past for like space for friends and family and loved ones to show up for me. I think oftentimes they don't know how, and I think there's been plenty of times when I've just kind of like pushed it away. Part of this too, I guess, is, I didn't want to show up for today. I thought that, I didn't have a topic. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say. I'm probably going to be like all over the place, or maybe I'll get stuck in it feeling like a negative spot, or like, I don't know. Honestly, I just got in my head a lot about today, and I tried not to let that keep me from showing up. I did have a opportunity this week to meet somebody off of YouTube that I met in the comments with this particular show. And we were able to get together for coffee. And it was the one thing that kind of got me out of the house this week. Was it the one? I think I didn't get out much. And I was really looking forward to it. And it was a great time to get out. And there was a moment when, it's like when you meet somebody for the first time, especially like in person, and there's just kind of like an awkwardness. And I remember there was this feeling of, they had said that they were like, I don't know, they were struggling to, I don't know. I felt like there was this potential. And even for me, when I set up there, it's like, maybe I'm going to go into this, this meeting, this coffee time with somebody who I'm going to be like showing up for. Like I'm in some ways, like I have something to offer them. I thought they were going to have questions and want to know how to go through things or talk to me about my life. And there was an element of that was true. But I think what it began to do was create this, I don't know, it kind of put me, I don't know, I was noticing this person had said something about, I noticed that it was easy to, when we're online or when we meet people in one way, maybe even one way over and over and over, I think we sometimes don't realize that there's more to them than just like that one part of them. And sometimes some of my challenges I felt being online so much. And there is an element of like when you turn on a light and you get in front of the camera and you like put on clothes and you're like, it's like you're talking to someone. There is an element of performance. I always work really hard to be authentic about my experience, but I think also sometimes when we're on these platforms, there's this distance that's kind of created. So I think in some ways it can make us seem inaccessible. And I think when we only meet people at that level, it can be very easy to not really know everything that's going on, which is what relationship I think is all about. Is like, which is ultimately really what I think I'm challenged with, is being able to show up in relationship with people in a more mutual space, I guess, instead of this idea of what I have to give somebody else or what I can get from them, or which is often never like, I think sometimes it's like a self-conscious thing, or sometimes I feel like it's somewhat cultural, or sometimes, you know what it is? It's like when I get into these states where I feel like I'm in a state of need, whether it's like I need to, and that need kind of becomes like the first feeling, or the first, it's the thing that's pulling you to show up for things. And then I think when I show up in those moments where I'm feeling so needy, it's really hard for me to show up like that, for one. But I just feel like it feels overwhelming. I'm not really entirely sure where I am going with this. If you want to put a comment in the comments, if you're following, that would be great. Sometimes I just need a little encouragement or prompt to kind of keep me going, because I feel like I lost my train of thought for a moment. But yeah, it's just been difficult. I've been trying to do everything I can to try to I feel like it's, like I talked about, like this week, it's like I get up and I have this energy, and then it just feels like there's some things that like keep kind of knocking me down a little by little by little. And it seems like I just peter out at some point. And so I've really been trying to figure out, are there things in my routine, things in my life that I could change in order to not kind of continue to like bring me down. Hugs to you too, Jack. Thank you. To kind of like bring me down. For instance, my comment sections on my socials have been really, really intense. And so I've really tried to not get in those as much as possible. But then I meet people, like this person I was able to meet for coffee. There's like, I probably get, hundreds a day, or that's ridiculous. That's extra, maybe 100 in the week. And it feels like more than that sometimes. And then maybe one like comment where it's actually like trying to connect with someone. Because I think that's really a lot of what this is for me, is I'm really trying to connect with others who I could benefit from being in relationship with them, or vice versa. And again, losing my train of thought with where I'm going with this conversation today, which maybe just gives you a little bit of insight into my brain. But so in the comments, it was getting to be heavy. So I've just tried to like monitor when I go in and when I go out. And then I actually went and was able to create filters that kind of block out words, because I do believe that these comments are having an impact on me in a negative way, even like it's taking energy from me. And as much as I don't want that to happen, it is. I feel like I am feeling really overwhelmed by this near and dear person in my life who is going through cancer diagnosis. And I'm really struggling with being able to show up for them. I want to, and then I can't. And I can't for a number of reasons. And it just makes me feel inadequate. I don't know if you've had this experience where it's like you want to show up for things and you want to like for me, I feel like I want to be able to put my feelings, my fears, my discomfort aside and show up for somebody who is maybe alone because they've been in a hospital for a few days and nobody's went and seen them, or just I don't know. And I also try not to like get on me when I am challenged with showing up in the ways that I want, because I have had a relationship with myself in the past where I wasn't good enough. That the driving force was obligation, where I felt so obligated to so many things that I forgot that I actually wanted to do those things, and that I actually like wanted to be in relationship with those people, and that I actually wanted to learn those things. Like sometimes for me, you know, I feel like there's a lot of different things, intent, and parts of ourselves that are pulling and leading how we show up in other people's lives. And this can be in everybody's life, or it can just be with certain relationships. And I think there's definitely been a time in my life where you know, I struggle with this. I think it's just the balance of it all. I guess it's the mutuality, or again, it's just more of a balance, because either I feel like I'm too needy, or, you know, I was chasing that obligation, and then I was obligated to show up safe for my family, or I was obligated to work extra hours, or I was obligated to ... go to church or pray, or, you know, all these sorts of things. And it took away my joy, and it took away my presence to what was actually at hand. And I had to take some time away from those obligations to realize that I actually wanted those things. And I had always wanted those things. But for whatever reason, I let this kind of thought, or this thing that was the thing pulling me. And so I've really tried to and been able to switch a lot of that. Like I have a desire to be in relationship with God. I have a desire to be in relationship with others. I have a desire to be in relationship with my family. And I also need, and I also I need assistance, and also I have something to give them, and like all those sorts of things are true all at once. And I think that's the thing that can be difficult for me at times, is to have, again, what one of those things is pulling me, especially when it's like I don't know. I just saw a comment that I want to go ahead and put up. M says, it doesn't always matter how someone shows up, but that they do. Thank you for being here. Yes. And yes. Yes, that is so true. And sometimes difficult to be okay with. And I think you really spoke to exactly kind of what my challenge has been this week, and maybe for some time, is not feeling like, again, it's just those old thoughts and feelings, and it's so easy to get and maybe it's not, like maybe it's something completely different. And I am a heady person. I am a person who can get into my head and try to figure everything out, and so that's not always that is really beneficial to me in a lot of ways, but sometimes it also can, you know, I'm always looking for meaning in everything, meaning and mattering and purpose. And why is this thing happening? Could this thing be happening different? Am I, you know, like, what do I need to do? What do I not need to do? I saw this great video on discernment this week, which has also been kind of on that element. You know, I'm in such this limbo state of like, where everything is so, there's just so much insecurity. I have a home now, and I have a little fear about how I'm going to pay my rent, but I have a home. And so there's that security that had been missing for so long. But I think there's still some other things that I feel a little insecure about. And then when I get into that insecurity, it can sometimes just take over. Again, it can make it difficult to just see everything that is true all at once. And I just have a lot of, I've been in a lot of fear. I had, and so, yeah, where am I going with all this? Because I think that what we say and what we think can be really powerful. And so I've also been really trying to, because I've noticed that when I can speak differently about my experience in a way that's true and authentic, but maybe has more of a positive pull, say that like a lifting pull, than say a pulling down, which I think every experience can do for us. But it's easy to get stuck, I think, in the negative for me. It has been. It's not anymore. And so part of it is it's not as much anymore. And so I'm really trying to find ways to be able to talk about what's going on in my life that isn't just about the deficits or the, which is often what's going on in my head. And so it's like this weird balance, because I've also been that person to just kind of live in this la la land of just seeing all the good things and focusing on that, and that has its place. But I think that's really kind of where I'm trying to, or the skill that I'm working on is just to try to be able to, I don't know where I'm going with all that. I told you I was really heady today, and I would probably be all over the place. And that's why there's not even a title for today as well. I thought about discernment. I thought about fear. I thought about talking about prayer or spirituality, or, again, a lot of this stuff was maybe coming from this place of what I'm challenged by right now, because I think I need help, and I don't know how to ask for it. Or sometimes I feel like that need of help again takes control, and then I feel like it's too much. I think there's fear of like rejection. There's always fear of not getting your needs met. Sometimes I feel like I don't know what needs for me to tend to, and what needs I might need somebody else's assistance for. So I have moments, I was able to call a friend, I was able to go have coffee. There were these things that I could do to begin to kind of go through that, but so I don't get stuck in that state of distress, I guess. I don't know. Life is full, and I'm just trying to show up for it. And I am, and trying to be okay with how I'm like, just, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes we have to be okay. It's a weird balance of being okay with what is, and not in a state of like, well, it is what it is. It's often challenging to know what action to take. And sometimes inaction is action. I think there's just so many, it's so easy for, as I said, I'm trying to put matter in anything. So if I get into a space where something isn't quite going the way that I would like it to, or think it's supposed to, I can then start to think about like, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do differently? And sometimes things just are the way they are. And because we live in a world that is not just me, I will sometimes have things impact me and come into my life that I have nothing to do with. But it has to do with like us, or it has to do with the people in my life, or the people that I'm in community with, or whatever. And sometimes things just are. I don't know that everything has to have purpose and everything has to be about about a lesson to learn or have some major purpose for it, or God's trying to tell me something, or like all these sorts of things. Like, I don't know. I don't believe that like we're meant to just, I think that we do have a purpose and we do have a calling, and like how we live in our life matters. And the way that we impact others matters. And it's something that I think we need to be mindful and aware of. But if that's our only motivation, if that's our motivation, it's not, it's like you're using others to meet that need, to feel like you have purpose. It's really kind of gross when you think about it, and it's not like intentional, and I think it's slight. But if I'm out to try to like meet my cause, I don't know, that's something I've really been kind of a little bit more challenged by at this part of my life, is really just, I think as I've gotten older, as I've started my transition, as I've had more of a spiritual life, it's been more about liberating myself and being able to be more free. And that's really what it comes down to. Like, I have a really hard time just like being, just like I can go to a drag show and I can sit there and I can kind of be enjoying it. And I am enjoying it. But again, I'm experiencing it all in my head, and I'm not always experiencing it with the people around me. And that's something I'm aware of, because I think when I do that too, it tends to make me feel, that's what happens. So I feel like I'm not in a space in which I can really open up and connect with people and show up in a way that I might just show up and I might sit at the drag show and not really talk to anyone, probably look like I don't want anyone to talk to me. And I can enjoy the show and appreciate that I'm there. But then also in some ways, then it creates this level of being out in public, not interacting people, especially if part of it is that I'm seeking connection. And then I can't even open up to make that connection. And so, sometimes I just need an opportunity to try to get some of this stuff out of my head. I don't know why I do it live. I don't know why I do it in front of a camera. I'm sure there's something in that. There we go again. There's something in that. There's a reason. But yeah, I feel like there's probably a lot of ums in this conversation, but if you, I guess it's just, I think this really is just an attempt to be less alone in the world. I think for whatever reason, I can sometimes open up. Sometimes it's easier to open up like this than it can be in other ways. And I think just like everything else, it's kind of about balance. And sometimes this is my only, or the majority of my connection. And I do well when I can get together with someone and have tea or coffee and like be in physical space with one another in a way that I can just, I don't know, be present with each other. So I'm going to leave it at that. And thank you for those who joined me live and who made comments and who are listening, and those who are coming across this at a later date, either via podcast or online, YouTube or whatever. Hello, and thank you for showing up with me. And I'm grateful that I have a place for me to show up, even if it's like this, which is great and fine. And okay, so join me next week. I think I'll be doing a live. I'm going to New York in a couple of days for a conference, a recovery conference, which will hopefully be helpful to kind of get out of myself. I am doing a workshop and stuff there, but thankfully it's the first night. So then I think that'll leave me to just be the rest of the time. So May we be content with what is. May we take the actions we need where possible and be okay with all of that. Take care, and I'll talk to you when I talk to you again. Bye-bye.
I've been waiting all my life for something. I've been down the darkest roads and up in the clouds, but I've always felt that something's missing. That was until I found you right there in the crowd. You came into my life and started a fire. You made me feel like I could touch the sky. Oh, there's nothing missing now that you're mine.